This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you in part by the Naperville Sun.
Benet girls tennis coach Bob Comerford. We're a little hurt by the weather today. We're indoors here at Benet Academy, but you guys, a successful season this year, no doubt, winning the 8th straight ESCC title. What have you guys been able to do that's been able to build success upon success here?
I think at Benet, the introducing in 06, although some of the girls did it prior to me getting here, and it's no big deal that I did, but the expectation that you play full year, that you get involved in USCA competition, that you don't pick up a racket in June and play over the summer, but if you're going to be good, the girls all need to buy into it. It's a full year proposition, and that really means that the parents have to buy into it. And the one thing I have to say, the Benet parents are amazing when it comes to support, logistically driving these girls twice a week to lessons that are 20 miles away, financially, because I have my daughter now who's 12 years old and she's taking privates, and oh my gosh, you have to have a separate fund just to simply afford the, and the strain it puts on these kids also with homework and all that. So playing full year round is not an easy thing to do. It's also difficult to be excellent at tennis and be doing a lot of other sports. So the singular focus on tennis, although we don't push that, I love for them to be athletes in every sport. It seems like they naturally gravitate towards 100% concentration on tennis.
And at the heart, tennis is definitely an individual sport. There's no bounds about it. How do you go about as a coach in an individual sport, being able to build a team atmosphere and look towards team success as true success?
We took deliberate steps, and we started this at Hinsdale South. It is an individual sport in a cloak of a team sport, but there's a way that you can bring that separation a little bit closer. The team dinners, we've had team dinners hosted by a parent every Friday, and the kids will gravitate towards that, have dinner, hang around together socially. Every Friday at our practice is a special dress-up day. One day they had a Rafi dress-up day. Another day they had an 80s workout outfit, and it takes a lot of pictures. And
for sure,
Benet also has a tradition of decorating for seniors. Their water jugs. There's a presentation there. We have a parents' night. A lot of things off the court that bring the girls close together. And I think also intrinsically there is a shared esprit de corps that's natural with tennis. I know Naperville North has a nice camaraderie. When you're going to battle all the time with the same girls and facing other teams, it draws you together. Certainly not in a war atmosphere, but it's that same type of feeling that we're all in this together, so we have to watch each other's back. Let's cheer for each other. So that kind of works well.
And we start with singles. Cassie Kovac and Leah Zakis are returning state qualifiers. What are some things that they bring to the table as singles players that's made them so successful?
Cassie's experience, leadership, maturity, great willingness in practice to help the other kids. She's great with techniques and things. She's been through everything. And Leah, an incredible story this year with Leah. She has upped her game so much from where she was last year, and she was not a shabby player last year. Her work ethic, her incredible desire to perform well, she's had some huge wins this year, and by example have shown the other kids that you could be already good, but you could still get better. And I think that was a great message. Two different personalities, same results.
And those two had sectional success last year, going to state. You guys took home the second straight sectional title last year. The singles field at the sectional this year stacked.
Yeah.
What are you kind of telling these girls? What exactly do they need to do to make that return trip?
And we just had this conversation 5 minutes ago, 10 minutes ago. At this point in the season now, and I think most of the coaches would agree with me, you don't get style points anymore. All these girls walk around with an idea of how well they can play, and when they don't play that well on certain points, the frustration is evident on their faces. Now it's, what that Davis guy from the Oakland Raiders used to profess, just win. If it's winning ugly, it doesn't matter. It's just whatever you need to do to get the win. There's no more style points from this point on in the season. And I think they received that pretty well, that there's no expectations other than just go out there and walk off the court with the 6 on your scorecard, and who cares what it looked like. I think that takes a lot of pressure off them thinking that they need to be performing at this level, and oh my God, I'm not at that level. Chill, you're fine.
you guys obviously skilled at the singles, but you have a stable of doubles players as well. I know a couple of the tournaments earlier this year, you kind of shook things up a little bit, mixing some doubles pairs. What does that do to kind of help these guys develop, getting used to maybe playing with something different, taking them out of their comfort zone a little bit?
You know, it did that, and it wasn't deliberate on my part. A couple of the reasons, and we talked about this as a team, was Cassie was injured at one point, so she couldn't serve a singles match consistently. We put her at doubles, but it was great to have them have a different partner because it reminded them of what they did so well with their other partner. We did it one tournament to we've already played some teams that we had beaten pretty well, Naperville Central and Batavia, and felt that there was absolutely no upside to playing them again. We've already played them once or twice already, and it was all downside. Because if they won the third match going into sectional seeding, that was the latest match, they would get a higher seed. Mm-hmm. So to a certain extent, it was a little bit of a coaching decision on my part to protect what we had already earned. But also, it did give the girls a break, too, a little pressure. Just go back, play doubles, have fun.
What do you kind of look for when you're looking to make some doubles pairings? Is it two qualities of two different players that you looked at match up well? How does that work?
That's a really good question. There's got to be a willingness, bottom line, for them to want to play with each other. There has to be a stylistic reason. I won't put two baseliners together normally if both are hesitant to play the net, because the other team, you're only going to be as strong as your weakest shot in tennis. And if the other team discovers that they don't like the volley, they're going to be dropping balls in front of them all day long. What I call the hammer and the wedge, somebody who's incredibly consistent from the baseline and somebody who's just an animal at the net. That's the ideal combination. And then any kind of variation off of that. And I think both our doubles teams, in fact, all three of our doubles teams, 4 doubles teams actually, I think about Maya and Carter too, they pretty much exhibit that. There's a comfort zone from the baseline for one of them, and one of them just can't wait to get up to the net. Mm-hmm. So we do like our doubles to get up to the net at every chance they can, but if it comes into a cross-court baseline game too, they're quite capable of keeping the ball in play.
And you have 2 doubles pairs returning that were state qualifiers as well from last year. They played each other in the sectional title last year.
You've done your homework.
I imagine that you want them in that position again, but once again, this Naperville North sectional very very
that's
talented.
going to be tough to do. I think the first goal, sectionals are cutthroat until you get to the semis. You lose. I mean, you can have one bad match and you go home. Mm-hmm. The first goal is to get to the semis and qualify, and then it becomes a whole different tournament at that point. Honestly, they have done real well in sectionals, Benet, over the last. I think they've won like 3 out of the last 4 actually, but we don't even think about that. And it's for us, it's getting to state as a team. That's the important thing. If the sectional title is a byproduct of that, that's fine. But get to the semifinals, qualify, and then have some fun and see what happens. Naperville North's got some good doubles teams. I know Don has a good doubles team in Cass and Cindy Lou. Mm-hmm. Wheaton, Warrenville South has a good double. You know, it's going to be tough to get to the finals, but hopefully get to the semis and then we'll worry about it from there. That's going to be a tough sectional.
Definitely. What I believe was your only dual match loss this year came to Hinsdale Central. A team that's obviously a state power in girls tennis. Is that something that you can kind of point to keep these girls motivated when you get kind of here late in the season and you guys have been having a lot of success? Maybe something that you could say, well, you know, we still have a ways to go. We still got something we can work towards.
You know, I scheduled them deliberately about this time last year. And for a lot of reasons, some of which the girls don't know, we needed to get real. Mm-hmm. At that point, like I think right now for 4 years, their record is 80-1, and they needed to be reminded that there are levels, and I think they knew that. And so to play Hinsdale Central right off the bat and start the season with a loss, actually I thought it was a real healthy thing. We went 3 matches with 3 setters, and then Leah won against Grace, who's like 60 in the nation. Mm-hmm. So I think they walked away from that feeling. And our doubles team, Madeline and Kim, went 4-4 against the state champs. They realized where they were and what they needed to do. We have pretty good aspirations about top 5. It's going to depend on sectional survival, and then the draws. And we got to get through the sectional, and that's going to be hard. First off, and then if we survive that, then hopefully we can keep it together at state. But Central gave us a nice little wake-up call. Get real, there's a whole nother level. And what a program that is that Robin has too. So, and I had to butt heads against them at sectionals when I was in Hinsdale South every year. And it's like, it got old.
And we've seen it today with the reason we're indoors. The weather this time of year can kind of be another wild card. How much does that affect, where we've been having some low 80-degree days, some 70-degree days, or it could be 50 and cool?
I think the big concern tomorrow, and the weather has been nice though. I mean, I think the girls would rather play in 80-degree temperatures because they've been in it all summer.
I imagine.
The wind tomorrow is the thing that we as coaches are looking at. They're saying up to 35 miles an hour. Mm-hmm. That changes the game of tennis. And it's the player who doesn't get rattled by it, who adjusts, and it's flexible enough not to freak out. And maybe not the strongest skill player that survives that kind of thing. And I think that would be, hopefully it won't be as windy as they're saying, but it'll make for some interesting results, I think, if it does get windy. It's a real equalizer.
Well, you guys finished 6th in points last year at state. Hopefully after the sectional weekend, you guys can move a couple on. Thanks for letting us come by today,
Thank
Coach.
you very much.